Hi again, you're with, my name's Catherine J or Catherine Joy, and we're in the middle of a conversation with, as part of Women's Wisdom Through the Ages with Meena Kumar.
Yes.
And we just had part one, and then partly with the rain and partly because we had some sort of bush turkey come and visit us at the table.
Who got camera shy.
Yeah. And basically part one was sort of setting the scene about Meena, you know, coming to live in Australia from India and what it was like and challenges and wonderful things. And we talked about education. So I highly recommend that if you are coming on now, go back and have a look at part one first. And basically where we're at now is Meena was diagnosed with breast cancer. So we've just sort of been going through that journey. And you were just saying that you didn't have the particular gene.
Yes.
And so, and you had, you know, different things happening at that time. And so how did you overcome it? Like what happened?
So for me it was like I have to deal with it now, get my treatment all done.
Yeah.
And one of the things I was really worried about was my hair. I had this very, very thick hair, that long.
Yeah.
One of the things which happened to me after my very first chemo session was that I was just doing something with my hair and a little clump came off. And that bothered me much more than the entire treatment I was going through.
And you've got beautiful hair, and I didn't even think of that. And yeah, I know that's, you know, quite often that's something that does happen.
Well, thank you. But then I said, no, I'm not going through this clumps coming out every few days or whatever. I just went to the hairdresser and asked him to just shave the whole thing off. And then I tried to make it funny by getting my friend, a very close friend, who is my business partner too, to come and help me choose a wig. And then we said, try going for a blonde wig. Let's see how it looks. Look terrible on me. And let's go with dark brown, I think.
Yeah.
So she's called Wigs on Wheels, who contacted me in the hospital, and then yes. And the other thing was, after my treatment, I actually got a second scare. Almost a year after that, I went for a mammogram for my right breast, and they couldn't make out stuff, because then they said, no, you have to go through core biopsy again, and then they went through mammogram biopsy, which was even more intense. But by the time all that scarring was done, it would have been difficult in future also to make out. It didn't turn out to be malignant, but the doctor said, with the scarring now, in your future mammograms, you might never be able to tell. So I didn't want that sword dangling over my head. I went for a second mastectomy. And then I was offered reconstruction, but then by then my husband and I had a discussion on that and said, don't do it if you don't want to. And it would mean lots of surgery, them taking out fat and muscle or whatever from my abdomen. It would have been good. I would have lost my tummy. But then sometimes it doesn't take. And I didn't want to put myself through that or my family, and said,
and it's a big deal. Like, I was talking to some people in my life, like just recently, and someone I know was saying that she would like to become a tattoo artist to tattoo new nipples onto the reconstructed breasts. And that's not something that I'd even thought about. Like, I think one of my friends had a breast reconstruction. I'm not 100% sure, but I know at least she was thinking about it. So there's a lot of things to consider.
Yes, it is.
But what I want to be talking about more in this part too is it wasn't just the chemotherapy. You did some other things different, and your life changed. So, and then you had a business come out of this such a stressful, traumatic time. How did that happen? What was the move from here to here?
So yes, so after my treatment, and when I got out of that, my hair started growing again and everything, I went into this whole thing, which was always in the back of my mind, is why me? I mean, how come? It is then that I read about the statistics, which is quite horrifying. 1 in 8 Australian women get breast cancer.
Yeah.
Men get breast cancer too. And I went into this whole thing about what we eat, what the processed food, what do we do different from my mom, her parents, and those generations who I had never even had heard of them having any kind of cancer.
Yeah.
So, I thought, we eat a lot of processed food, preservative-laden food, and tinned food, which I hadn't realized. Now, my breast cancer was hormone positive. There are different types of breast cancers. They could be Herceptin positive, they could be ER and PR, that is the progesterone and estrogen positive, and I was that. And the BPA lining in tinned food, actually when it leaches into the canned food, it imitates those hormones.
Yeah.
And I used to eat a lot of tin food. Tomato cans, kidney beans, chickpeas, you name it. I took the whole lot.
Wow.
And chucked them in the bin, whatever I had. And then from there, I did start a blog called Choose for Health.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because I had all this...
Choose for Health?
Choose for Health.
CHOOSEFORHEALTH dot.
It's a WordPress
So .com
blog.
What's the dot?
.com.
.com?
.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chooseforhealth.com.
That's right. And then, because I wanted to share this information with everyone, and from there I went on to, in my research and discovery, I found that what we put on our skin, the skin is the largest organ on our bodies, and what we put on our skin matters a lot. There were things like I discovered vitamin D deficiencies very strongly linked to breast cancer. I had a deficiency. I was like, instead of some 70, I had 7 level.
And just on that, vitamin D comes from the sun.
That's right.
So if you go out in the sunshine, should that be, is that good?
It's very good. And for darker skinned people, you actually need more sun than fair skinned people. So say
that's interesting.
Someone like you would need maybe 15 minutes of sun per day, but for someone like me, I would need a minimum of 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And now when you're working a full time, 9 to 5, either you make sure that you go out during your lunchtime and get that sun.
Yeah.
If you can't, then it's very important to get your vitamin D supplements up. And that's what I did after. And then, as I was talking, the skin. Now, wash off products may not matter so much, but it has been found that 80%, I'm not sure of the exact number, but 80% of women whose breast cancer tissues were tested had parabens in them. And chemicals in skin products are linked to cancer, infertility, early puberty.
There's so many. Like, I know at the moment, for the last few months, I mean, I've had quite a few cancer scares, and I mentioned my own journey with a cancer scare last year that I had. And so, and not just, so many people have cancer, especially in a country like Australia.
Yes.
And so I've been with a friend going through, it's called The Truth About Cancer, and then there's a documentary series and there's a book, they're talking about that, and all of those things and all those statistics coming out, and so it's and so I know you have a bag of goodies behind your back, and I already looked earlier because we actually just came from a business meeting,
right?
And so it's exciting. So one thing that I know from years ago, because my mum has different allergies and different skin things, and over the years, so I was so blessed that my mum had her own journey. And so I learnt a lot of the things from early on, like not to have alcohol in not to have alcohol in deodorants.
Right.
And so quite a few things. So aluminium, yes, absolutely. Sorry, aluminium and alcohol and so I was already doing a lot of it, and even with food I already knew, and I had one of my best friends had breast cancer, and so very similar story to yours.
Okay.
And so just, you know, eating more fresh juices or all of these different things.
Yeah.
So it's awesome when people go through those journeys, but you're turning it into a positive and be able to help other people.
Yes, so I thought that, you know, when I discovered all this, I thought, I actually started, you know, I thought I'm not going to use products which I think are unsafe and which have been proven to be unsafe. I did go and I started with making soap, for example, and then massage bars. But the thing I was most interested in, which took us the longest time to develop, was the deodorant.
Okay, can we get the bag of goodies out now? I'm really excited about this.
Okay.
And I'm going to see if I can describe the smells as we go through. And so let's go through, I'll do that one second, not the one with the special packaging, the other one. You've got 3 deodorants. Show me one that's the same packaging. Oh, hold off that one till later.
Okay. No, I just have this packaging.
Have you got another one there with the same, because there was 3 flavours or 3 smells.
So the other 2 are in the new packaging.
Oh, they are. Okay, so we'll do this one first. This is awesome. This is the one I'm going to buy today. This is rose geranium, and it just is wonderful. So I'm excited about that. Beeswax, coconut oil, baking soda, cocoa butter, arrowroot powder, rose geranium, EO.
EO is essential oil.
Yeah.
So because we don't use any chemical fragrances, these essential oils are only used.
Yeah.
And you can pretty much eat everything in that except the essential oil.
I'm so excited because before I met Meena, I just ordered a whole big tub of shea butter, and I've been using organic coconut oil for years, and essential oils, and because one time when I was at school I was helping with a STEM project, and we were actually making our own. So I bought all the bits and pieces to just think, I'm just going to make up my own stuff.
Right.
And then so to meet you and hear your story and actually have some, especially like this one, and to me it's really exciting because we all want to be looking after our health. And for me, I've quite often had skin irritations.
Right.
So like I've been using goat's milk soap for years, for example. Let's have a look now. I'd like you to explain to people about your packaging. Because it's not only what is being used on your skin and being really healthy, but you're also doing something different with the packaging as well.
So we wanted to go with sustainable and ethical practices, and with so much contributing to climate change and all of that. We really wanted to do away with plastic, even though these are still recyclable, but we wanted something which was zero waste.
Yep.
And which meant is, after you use your product, you chuck it into your compost bin, and it just goes into your... Have you got one there that I can smell?
So this one's a rose geranium.
Yep.
And I just love rose geranium.
And this one is, you can see that it's a paper-based tube. Just pull that up.
So this is just all made of cardboard.
Yep.
And then this just pushes up. I love it. So if you can just see that. Obviously we don't have a cameraman or a camera woman, but...
And then you just tap that down. And
so this is cedarwood and lime.
Yes.
Wow. Awesome.
And the other one is lemon eucalyptus.
Lemon eucalyptus. Wow. It smells like lemon and eucalyptus. Awesome. And you bought something else to show us here, which is different as well.
So yes, this was the product we started. As you know, Seema and I both have come from HR background. We studied in the same institute in India. She was a couple of years junior. And when I was making all of this stuff, she said, you know, Meena, we've been planning to do something together for a long time. Why don't we take this forward? Because it's become so popular with our friends, family, you know, as is usual with small businesses. So why don't we take this further? And then our next product was this, which is a...
And hopefully you can see that. I mean, obviously...
It's a lotion, it's a massage bar. It's actually a moisturizer.
And this is rose geranium as well.
Yes.
So
it's a moisturizer which is solid at room temperature. And then it senses your skin's temperature and melts. So there you go. You just rub that in. And can you feel that?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and then that's it.
It's just really smooth. I mean, I do have dry skin, and so I do use like shea butter and different things like that. But this is
so if you look at the ingredients,
beautiful.
That's basically it's cocoa butter, almond oil, a bit of beeswax to settle it, and vitamin E and rose geranium essential oil.
Wonderful.
So we've got that in lavender and cedarwood and lime.
Okay. And how did you find, because obviously you've worked in different industries, but you'd never been a business person, and it sounds like you didn't really have business people in your background, like your husband or no close family members in business.
Not at all.
So that must be quite a challenge as well.
It was. So when we started out in markets. So in various markets we used to do at least once a month. And we found that when we were one-to-one with people, and people came and actually used our products with the testers and all of that, we developed a clientele slowly, and it was mostly after that word of mouth. Then we have a website and an online shop. So we've got these regular clients who they buy online, and because of this COVID situation, we haven't had markets at all, and we consciously also decided to reduce the market thing and go on to the online shop that people could pick up if they lived locally.
So
from our
and
place.
the website is Bodhi Tree, so BODHI Tree skincare.com.au. So bodhitreeskincare.com.au, and so and it's got follow us on Instagram and Facebook.
And yes, and all the ingredients are sourced in Australia. We make them ourselves, and so that's where we are now.
Wonderful. And I mentioned before that one of the things that Meena and I do, like we're part of different groups together. So one group is called Powerful and Empowered Women, which is started off a Facebook group, but it's sort of growing a little bit more now. I think up to a couple of days ago there were 733 women from around Australia as part of the group. This is with Pratibha, who introduced us. And then we're also part of the Hornsby Chamber. Business Chamber here in Sydney. So I love that. You just meet really interesting people.
True.
So thank you so much for coming on today. And just as you're going through, and you've shared, and it's also a personal story. So thank you for sharing that, because that can be quite emotional and quite traumatic, even just remembering things.
I actually also learned a lot of it, in the sense that we don't realize the life stresses, the stresses that we put ourselves to also sometimes, and anger and negativity do affect our health. And after this journey, I have changed. I have decided that anger and negativity is a very wasteful exercise, and it really may not affect the person you're angry at, or an issue that you're angry at, but it does affect you. So I think I've learned to control a lot of that. And yes, and as far as your health, I think is the most important thing. Many years ago, we were asked to, in a group dynamic situation, we were asked to list the qualities and attributes that are important to you on a 1 to 10
Yeah.
scale, and people said honesty and loyalty and friendship and all of that I did too. But the facilitator, Father Arroyo, he actually put down health as number one, because if you don't have good health, and it's true, you really can't enjoy anything else, traveling or doing whatever you love the
Absolutely.
most. So
Yeah.
I think
And I think there's a bit of wisdom that you're keen to share with people about what you would like to leave, the people that are watching. And I know it's mostly ladies, like this is women's wisdom through the ages, but I know there's also some men that watch us.
yes.
So what would be a bit of advice, wisdom that you'd like to leave people with?
I think that's I pretty much said what I meant. I feel that your health is most important. If you look after yourself, you look after your family, everything kind of takes care of itself. Being conscious about what you eat, you use, and say whether it's exercise, getting your vitamin D levels up, and choose for health basically. What you eat, what you do, and yes, your anger, and I think the health is the most important thing in life.
And you also mentioned previously about getting tested.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. One of the things I mentioned earlier was that if you've got to have cancer, probably the best cancer would be breast cancer. At the time when my niece said that to me, I thought that was weird, but it's true, provided that you get yourself tested. If you get yourself tested in time, it can be treated, and you can look forward to a better quality of life. But it's important to get yourself tested.
Beautiful. And especially here in Sydney, we just had Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
That's right.
Yep. So you may be watching this, it could even be 2021, 2022 if you've gone back in the archives by then.
Yes.
But this story I think is timeless.
It is timeless. And as a breast cancer volunteer, peer support volunteer, which I've been doing with Cancer Council for a few years now, I have heard these similar stories, and and how some of them, they wish they had gone for testing much earlier than they have had. But I think, but it's there. You need to be positive, of course, as far as you can. But it's important to get tested.
Yeah, and even in a country like Australia, there's different ways that you can go through the process. Like I had my own scare about a year ago, and you can get free testing. All of this can be free, but you can also go to really nice, more upmarket places. I went to one of those, and it was amazing, like the quality of care that I had. But obviously, like, I didn't expect that I would have to keep going back for different tests. Like, I thought it would have been cleared at one stage, but then it can get quite expensive. But in a country like Australia, we're so fortunate that obviously there's private healthcare and all of those things, but you can still be Medicare. Did you find that it was really good service and everything?
I did. In fact, a recent breast cancer awareness event that I went to said that entire cancer treatment through our system, public healthcare, would cost you between $5,000 to $6,000.
Which is so cheap. I've just someone else I know very close to me has and even with all of the the highest level of private healthcare, it can be hugely expensive.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then but with Medicare, your normal testing and mammogram, if your GP has recommended it, that's covered by the Medicare system. So there's no reason why we shouldn't be going through the testing process.
Yep. And like Meena said, it's not normally a death sentence if you get it early. And I just want to, there's quite a few people that are probably watching, and I've always had friends, especially the last probably 5 or 10 years or more, that have been involved in a ministry called Healing Rooms. And so it's healing through prayer. And one of the main things which you talked about before, which was your emotions.
Yes.
So one of the things that that they teach in that setting is that you make sure that you get rid of any unforgiveness, any bitterness, any resentment, any offence. Because if you have, even when you think about it, if you have bitterness, it's eating away at you.
Yes.
It's a bitter root, so you want to be getting rid of the bitter root. Yep. So, and that's something, you know, I also have blogs and write about things, and emotions are just so important. So there's just been so many different aspects that you've brought up today. So thank you so much for joining. It's been just so lovely to have you on, and I'm excited about my new deodorant.
Right. Thank you, Catherine, for inviting me to speak. It's been lovely talking to you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay. And so thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Women's Wisdom Through the Ages.
Thank you.